Hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. This is a good one, and this has been a long time coming. I know there's no way that you guys are going to be nearly as excited about this as I am. I mean, I have dreamed about this for a very long time, and it's finally happening. Let me introduce you to Dan's Pro Shop 2.0. Now that you got a kind of basic overview of what's going on, let me show you the heart of this old girl. Would yins look at this thing? I mean, like I've told you in the past, it's no airplane hangar or pilot truck stop, but compared to that 25 by 25 car and a half stall garage that I've been working out of for the past 15 years, this is practically the Taj Mahal. Now, I don't know, let me give you some specs on the place. Now, first, let me apologize for the lack of videos and timely uploads here, but if you guys have ever moved, you understand how much of a task that is. And obviously, we've been moving a lot, and since we moved the entire place, like we moved homes too, not just shop. So getting the house up and running and put together, you know, the way everybody wants and doing this and that takes time. So the shop was kind of secondary. And you can tell here we're still kind of in tatters, but I got it together enough to where I can start using it. We are nowhere near being done. Trust me, there's a lot of work to be done up here. But it's usable for now. So the property itself, you know, the home is like a 1950 or something, but here in the greater Pittsburgh area, that's pretty normal. And honestly, you know, houses built in that time period still use dimensional lumber, and they were built. So, you know, homes can be fixed as long as they have good bones. So I'm not worried about the house. This building in particular was built in 2019, so it's pretty well brand new. And it's a stick frame building with metal siding, and we are looking at 40 deep by 55 feet wide. 12-foot ceilings, 10-foot high by 16-foot wide garage doors, 2 of them and insulated. We have R30 in the ceiling, and I think 19 or 30 in the walls. Either way, it's insulated, it's wired, it's even plumbed for a bathroom. We don't have a bathroom yet, but there will be. And might even have one upstairs. That's right, upstairs. Might as well start you here in the entryway. This is the main man door. There are 2, but the way the building's laid out, this is pretty much your primary in and out. So this will be like the man cave spot. You know, you got your boys over for a couple wobble pops watching Supercross on the TV. This is the hangout zone, but it's easily movable little sit-down place, so we can still pull a car or a truck in here for some groundwork. If you just want to use a floor jack, yank wheels and tires, do brakes or whatever. It's a nice floor bay, which, speaking of which, floor, have you seen this thing? This is almost a brand new 4-inch thick floor with a little extra something. It is already plumbed for in-floor heat. Now, obviously, there's nothing hooked up here yet, but the foundation is done. The plumbing is ran in the floor for a radiant, heated concrete floor. That is absolutely awesome. I don't know if you guys have ever worked on a heated floor before, but it is amazing. And the older you get, you know, the knees, the feet, it is something else to have a heated floor in a shop. Now, I'm sure you've already thinking to yourself, well, heated floors are awesome, but they come with a caveat. Well, that's true. I'm kind of unable to put a 2-post lift in this building, even though it's perfect for one, because you have pipes in the floor. And unless you are absolutely freaking 100% sure where they are, you're not drilling into this floor without absolutely destroying your in-floor heat system. So we're gonna work around that. I got big plans for later, but I also have plans for sooner than later. So continuing on our main entryway here, we have an enormous 3-foot deep by 25-foot long, 3-tier workbench. So, I mean, a little excessive? Yes. But as long as you're kind of disciplined, which I'm not really great at, but, you know, flat surfaces collect junk. That's just the way it works. But, you know, I put my totes under there so they take up the majority of the space so that bottom shelf doesn't just become a catch-all. You know, if the totes are taking up space, you're less likely to just throw crap in there. And then the top is just a nice workspace. You know, you do your sensitive electronics, you know, maybe you're rebuilding starters or something, you can do that here. And, you know, whenever you have people over, it's a nice little buffet. You know, you set out your wings and crap, and we're definitely going to be like living / working in this building since it's so freaking awesome. Moving on down here to the end of the bench into this corner. I know you can't really see it here because of my crap all around, but here is where the restroom plumbing is. Now, I haven't decided yet whether the bathroom is going upstairs. Like I told you, I'll show you, don't worry. But we have a 4-inch drain for a toilet. We have a 3-inch drain for just drain, like vanity or what have you, whatever. But everything's already in the floor and ran out of the building. That's 90% of the battle. Once it's out of the building, then you can tear up the ground, do whatever you want to do, but you don't have to disturb the existing floor, which is a big deal because of the in-floor heat. So, like, it's already there, it exists. Half the battle's done. And then, underneath this sink right here, there is a shower pan. We can even build a shower in here. I don't know if I'm going to. That might be a little excessive for a workshop. But, you know, I was kind of thinking maybe just to keep this area open, extend the crapper pipe up and we go upstairs, and then just build like a little mechanical closet over here for, you know, the water boiler for the floor, maybe a forced air furnace or whatever. But whatever, that's ancillary. We'll get to that. I've never had a bathroom in a garage before. I don't need it right now. It would be nice, yes, especially for the missus, but, you know, for now, we're working with what we got, and it's significantly better than what we had. The plan for this corner, since this is like the hangout / floor work bay, is that this is going to be the bike area. You know, put the bike lift here in the corner, got plenty of space to work around it. I have my dedicated bike box here. So this box has been put together specifically for working on motorcycles. Actually, I did a review just on that box, how I put it together and what's in there, like specifically for working on bikes. So if you're interested, check out that video up here after this one, because this is way cooler. But that's the plan. So this is just the bike area. Well, you may notice, hey Dan, there's no motorcycles in this garage. What's the deal? You're a bike guy. Why aren't there any bikes in here? Well, that's because they're in the other garage. So coming out of the bike corner here, we're getting more into strictly automotive. That was my plan here setting this up. And I know with a new shop, you're never really done. It's constantly evolving as you do projects. You realize this would go better there, or this here, or what. Man, I've been in this place for like a week. And honestly, it's a freaking miracle that I got done what I have done in this amount of time. And again, I apologize for my lack of uploading, but golly, is this a lot of work. A lot of late nights, working 100 hours over the weekend, you know, just trying to get everything done on top of a full-time day job. But either way, don't let me chew your ear off. This toolbox here next to the bike box. This box is strictly like tooling, and actually I did a video on this one too, because this box is relatively new. I had way too much like drills and taps and dies and like end mills and ball mills and just tooling stuff, and it was taking up too much space in the toolbox, so I needed a tooling box. So that's what this one is. It's just like material removal stuff. So obviously got a cute little crappy benchtop drill press, but this thing has served me well for a very long time. And it'll take up to a 1/2-inch chuck. So, yeah, you can get a lot of work done with this thing if you need to. And let's be honest, you know, 90% of the time you're using a hand drill. If you need something more appropriate than that, really, you need a milling machine, but I don't have one. Hopefully, one day I will, but right now I don't. So here, just drill index, bench grinder, drill press, and tooling tools. Moving over here. We got a really old first gen OG US General Harbor Freight tool cart. I got this thing a long time ago. This is probably like 08 or 09 I got this thing. But way back when I worked at the steel mill as a maintenance guy, this was my tool cart at the steel mill. And since then, it's kind of just evolved into like a catch-all utility cart. Like I got like 3/4-inch sockets in here, like stuff you don't normally use. And the bottom, man, let's don't talk about the bottom. But it's just a nice wheel-around tool cart. I think what I want to do is put my parts washer in the top of this thing. So then it's traveling, it can go with me, but either way. And then we get here to the heart of the shop. You guys have seen this. I made a video specifically on this thing. The Icon factory Kawasaki green toolbox. We got 56 lower, 56 top with a side cabinet. And it's, yeah, just all the blow molded cases go in there. Now, I was thinking about possibly expanding this thing and getting a 72 bottom with a hutch and another locker. But I kind of like the way things are set up now with the individual toolboxes for individual tasks. I don't know if I really want to combine everything into one, even though it would look awesome having an entire wall of giant lime green toolbox. I don't know. At what point does it become more of an optics thing than a functional thing? I mean, I'm not at a dealership where I have to huddle everything into one lockable unit. You know, this is my place, so I can set it up for what I want and what I'm trying to do. And I kind of like having the individual smaller toolboxes, especially those Huskies with the wood top as a workbench. Then if you're doing something in this bay, you take that toolbox with you to do that job. So having carts, you know, you just take your whole toolbox with you. And since this floor is so freaking awesome, you can run a creeper around this thing all day and not catch any cracks or pits or... I've never had a floor this nice. You can actually sweep it. You can pull a jack across it and not get stuck. You can actually use a creeper and not, you know, run over your fingers. And I can't tell you how nice this is. Then over here, clearly this isn't done yet. There's a lot of crap in this corner. But you guys may recognize this workbench. This bench has been with me for a very long time because I made it a very long time ago. However, I like this bench. I had it already set up with like my homemade pegboard for all my wrenches. I'm not really a fan of putting wrenches in a drawer. I like to hang them up. I like to see them. I like them to be easily accessible. And then it's obvious whenever one is missing. And it's just, I've always hung my wrenches on the wall. I want to keep them like that. You know, just dumb stuff. You're over here like ripping apart an alternator or something. Now I don't got to go over there and get a wrench. You're like, oh, well, I got my 9/16 right here. It's just, it's handy. It's the way I've always done it. I like it. So this will be like the primary automotive workbench. The one over there, the big bench, it's just for stuff. You know, I don't know, if you got to sit down and do some intimate work on something, you go over there, you relax, you're outside of the auto bay. This one is the dirty bench. That's why I put some beefy legs under this thing, because I'm sure probably at some point or another I'm gonna end up having a transmission on that thing. Who knows? And right here for now, I got my MIG TIG stick cart setup thing here. I'm not sure where it's gonna go. Eventually, I would like to get a fitting table for right here because it's kind of in the middle of the doors and kind of in a little bit of a dead space. But since I do so much metal fabricating and welding and grinding and stuff, I would love to have like a 4x8 actual fitting table, something on wheels right here just for fabrication. Now I could put my bench vise on the end of it, put all my welders and plasma cutters and laser welders and CNC crap here on or under this bench, but then it's movable so you can do what you want. Like I mentioned, this bay is like for floor work for cars and everything, but hopefully I'm not using it that much. So this can be just do what you need to, maybe back a trailer in here overnight if you want, or it's just, I kind of want this to be motorcycles and fabrication right here in this spot. But unfortunately, I don't have a fitting table and they are incredibly expensive. Man, I would really love to get one of those Fireball tables, but hey, shout out Fireball, I'm looking for a fitting table. In this corner here where the catch-all is, you know, this is the stuff that I haven't really gone through yet that still needs to find a home. You know, some extra lumber laying around, you know, I have a problem with throwing things away that are still good. Do I have a use for that OSB? Not right now, but I might. So yeah, I have a problem with that. I don't know if it's a problem, but it's a storage problem if nothing else. But the point here is in between the bench and the bolt bin here. This corner, this is gonna be tires. I'm gonna put a balancer right here and a tire changer right here. Maybe even a little bin on the wall for tire weights or whatever, but that's the plan. I said this is the automotive bay, so I want this to be dedicated to automotive. So we have the auto bench for stuff, you know, as much as I said I don't use a tool cart, we got a tool cart that lives under that bench. I specifically made a spot just for it. You know, underneath we got the oil pans and right next to it the floor jacks, but the plan is for tires in this corner. This wall, for right now anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna have for egress with plans coming on, but for real estate purposes or whatever, right now, this is just consumables. So we have the bolt bin with 1/2 inch through 3/4 inch hardware, mostly hex head, some socket head cap screws. Then this one here, I haven't really put together yet, but still just consumable stuff, you know, like extra oils, spray cans, whatever. This is more little crap, you know, the machine screws, pan screws, electrical connectors, you know, little bolts, clips, snap clips for interior, fuel line connectors, fuel line, cotter pins, shrink tube, whatever. Just this shelf is just consumable shop stuff. If you guys have a shop, you know, there's plenty of consumables, you know, you need a place to put all that crap. Then here in this corner at man door number 2, which probably won't get used all that much, but it's nice that there are multiple ways to get in and out of here without opening one of these big giant doors. This is probably just gonna be more shelving for more consumable stuff. Or I just leave it open, put jack stands on the floor or something. I don't know, I haven't gotten there yet. This corner is just kinda here, you know, this is more stuff that I haven't really gotten through yet and more of my saving old stuff problem. But this bay is gonna be for a lift. Now, I told you I cannot put a big 2-post lift in here because number one, the thickness of the floor, you need at least 6 inches for a sturdy foundation for a 2-post lift, especially a big one. And with the in-floor heat, I'm not gonna risk ruining a good brand new system just so I can lift a vehicle off the ground. So the plan is a 4-post, 12,000 pound lift going here. Now, when it comes to 4-post versus 2-post, you know, that's like Ford and Chevy. I don't know. There's pros and cons to both of them, and it depends on what you're doing. I prefer 2-post lifts, but because of my constraint with what's going on with the floor, I don't care. I just want to be able to get a vehicle off the ground. You know, I have a 1-ton Chevy pickup truck, so I'm going to need something big to get it off the ground. And then I plan on doing other stuff, you know, make it dump trucks or stuff in here. The doors are big enough to get a triaxle in here. So yeah, that's the plan. A big, giant, 12,000 pound 4-post lift right here. And I've been talking with Wildfire Lifts about getting a lift in here, and they told me that all of their 4-post lifts are made to not be bolted down. Now, obviously you can, and it's better, it makes them more sturdy, but you do not have to. It's not a manufactured requirement to bolt a 4-post. Would I like to? Yeah. But because of my restraint with the floor, I'm unable to, and really I don't want to, because I don't want to risk hitting any of these lines in the floor. So that's the plan. A 4-post right here where all the crap's gonna go down. Well, that's kind of my plan for this building. And I know you giggle all you like, you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. But hey, man, this worked out, didn't it? I didn't think this was going to happen. I had no idea that we were going to be moving in 2025, well, /26, because it went right over the new year, which is awesome. Living in a place for 15 years and then up and moving everything. Uprooting the entire family and moving during the worst snowstorm in Pennsylvania history since 1993. We got 3 feet of snow overnight, and then for the next 2.5 weeks, it was negative 10 degrees outside. And we moved our entire life during this period. Like every day, you'd have to go out and shovel a foot of snow out of the driveway or the road or whatever, just so you could hook up the trailer and like move a couch. Oh, I tell you what, man, it's credit to the missus and myself, because the unreal amount of work it took to do this during these weather conditions. And shout out to a couple of good buddies that came over and helped me throughout all this, because without you guys, this would not have been possible. So yins know who you are. Thank you so much. Oh, and I forgot to mention probably the best part about this is that this shop, not only is it awesome, but first thing, it's about 3/8 of a mile off of the main road. And once all this stuff is grown in, you can't even see this building from the road. And on top of that, it is smack dab in the middle of Western Pennsylvania woods, 7 acres of it. Oh yeah. So we are out here, man. I mean, yes, it's still residential, if you will, but from here back is just acres of untouched Western Pennsylvania woods. We are riding. If you guys have been around here for a while, you know that I ride dirt bikes, my boys ride dirt bikes, my wife is into it. We all ride. And now we can hunt and ride dirt bikes on our own property. We can even go camping on our own property. Like there's that nice flat up there that you can park 2 or 3 campers up there, build a big bonfire, like put up a pavilion or something. This place is awesome. This is exactly what we've been looking for, and we were just lucky enough it was down the road from where the old place was. So yeah, moving sucked, but thank heavens it wasn't too far away. Now, I've mentioned to you about upstairs. Let's go take a gander. It's nothing crazy, man. It's like raw, but it's there. It's a blank canvas. So you hang a Ricky out of the garage, and we got a big staircase here, which eventually I would like to build a staircase inside to also come up here. And here we are up at the landing of the upstairs of the garage. Take a look at this. Nothing, just woods. And here we are at the upstairs of Dan's Pro Shop 2.0. So guys, here we are upstairs. So this is probably, I don't know, about 12 or 14 foot wide, maybe 8.5 feet tall, and the entire width of the garage. So 55 feet long here. The plan for up here is, I don't know, I may put the restroom up here, a set of staircases to come up from downstairs so I don't have to go outside to come upstairs. Along that wall, I would eventually like to frame in an office for myself, I can run the business from over there. And then this side will be just like a hangout, a man cave, maybe a set of bunk beds for having deer camp here. TV on the wall, you know, a little wet bar. That's the plan, but it's a completely blank canvas up here with its own sub panel. So there is a lot of potential up here. And like, it's already insulated, it already has a floor. I just gotta put up walls, hang outlets, and just kind of do what I want to do. Now, going back down here, you guys can probably hear that engine running in the background. Well, let me tell you something, that's the one caveat about this place. Now, for as awesome as this place is, you know, you never get something good without a little twist, you know, an angle, something in the story. Well, this place is awesome, yes, but because of the remoteness of it, there's no utility here. Yep, none. We are currently running off a 240 volt generator to power this building. We currently have no water, no gas, kind of have internet. I put this awesome Wi-Fi antenna on top of the house over 1,000 feet away, and I can still get Wi-Fi out here, which is thoroughly impressive. I was not expecting that. But the saving grace, I get really good phone reception up here, like 5G, everything. So I can still like hotspot the TV and we can watch the race even out here. It's great. But there is no electric, no water, no gas. So this summer, well, springtime/summer, we're gonna try to fix that. Luckily, I got enough people in my life with a lot of big machines that love digging dirt. So the plan is a huge trench from here all the way to the house, completely destroy the yard and the driveway in the process, and run a big utility ditch out here with at least 120 amp, preferably 200, but I don't know what we're gonna get into. I haven't done the figuring yet. I have a 200 amp panel in here, but I don't know like if I'm gonna call the power company and have a dedicated drop from the street to come out here. But since it's such a long run, I don't know what that's gonna cost me. And you know, just acquiring this place, you know, I'm already in debt up to my eyeballs. So I don't know what's gonna be plausible here. But either way, at least this place is rigged up to work on a generator. So I have power, you know, the torpedo heater, the old cancer cannon for heat. And in the summertime, you know, just open the doors. It's not that big of a deal. And so, yeah. But at least, like, whenever it comes to generators, I got myself a big one because I was anticipating this. I knew that this was part of this whenever I purchased this property. But just the property and the building existing alone was difficult to pass up. You know, running electric is a subsidiary issue. But just having the property, having the dirt work done, having the building up is huge. Hooking up power can be done later, but having this is everything. You know, if your property isn't good, it isn't good, and it's going to take a lot of money and time to make it good. That part is already done here, and we can pull some wire. We can make that happen. But in the meantime, got me a 4-cylinder diesel light tower with a 20 kV generator. So I'm a diesel mechanic. I can make this thing run forever. Now, it has a ton of hours on it, but I got it used from a local equipment company here. Shout out to Skyworks. Thanks, Eric. You want to talk to him? Call this number. Skyworks, Greater Pittsburgh area, rentals. That's what they do. Right now, I'm just running off an old Champion gasoline one. That's probably why you can hear that thing. This thing, way more power, way more fuel efficient, and a lot quieter because it's enclosed. So the plan is to do a little bit of wiring here, put a generator outlet on the other side of the wall so it's easy to get to and fuel, but that's the plan. This thing will eventually be powering this place for at least a little bit until I get hardwired power. Well, that's kind of it for this garage. I know that's kind of it. This is huge. So now that you've gotten the taste of the shop, I was telling you, there's another garage. Well, there's a 2-stall garage up at the house, you know, just for stuff, you know, I guess you would assume for parking in, but unfortunately, because I have a quad cab 8-foot bed truck, it doesn't fit in there. Like, if you take the hitch out and you're really particular, you might be able to close the door around it, but then you wouldn't be able to walk around it to get in. So that garage is pretty much just for motorcycles. Let's go take a gander, huh? And here we are at garage number 2, or 1, however you want to count it. Now, this garage is really a mess because this was kind of just like our dumping zone whenever we were moving here. Just back the trailer up to the door and just everything goes in here. But at least this one is already wired to the house. So, like, there is hardwired power out here. That's why the wobble pop fridge is in this garage. Now, it's not nearly as finished or as insulated as I would like. You know, I spent so much time, money, and effort in the previous garage insulating it so it would be a nice, usable building. But for this one, it's kind of just bike storage, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, I have done some wiring out here, added some outlets, put in some LED lights and things like that. I put an outlet for a welder up here just in case. You know, it's just nice to have 240 out here in case you need to zap something together little and you don't want to go out to the big shop. But, you know, stuff like I put an outlet outside, like a 30 amp outlet for the RV so we can park there and run the air conditioner. But yeah, there's not much going on in here other than just storage. Now, if you guys are frequent to the channel, you'll recognize a lot of this crap from the previous shop. Obviously, I kept the awesome old beer fridge because you have to. Like, there's 2 decades worth of stickers on there I'll never get back, so that alone is worth keeping the fridge. We got the pellet stove, and since this place is so crappy insulated, it's nice to like have overkill with the pellet stove. And this thing, like, it won't cook you out of here because of how drafty this place is, but at least it keeps it nice. So like it'll keep it 60 degrees in here when it's 10 outside. So it eats the pellets, but it keeps it comfortable in here to do stuff. Even though we're not working in here, it's nice. And then a little bit of a workbench, you know, just dumb stuff. You know, you put your riding gear here, you're getting ready, a couple just basic hand tools, stuff like that, whatever you're getting into. But the point of this bay here is just bike parking / storage. So here we got the whole family lineup, all the way from electric bikes to 50 cc's up to the big stuff. You know, we got everything here. And I was thinking about at least keeping the dirt bikes up at the shop, but I kind of like them here. They're out of the way, you know? You can only ride one at a time, so you just pick the one that you want to use, take it out of here, and then go do what you want. And then clean them up, spray them off in the driveway, bring them back in here. So this bay is just for bikes. And man, I got to tell you how awesome that is, going from that little 25 by 25 garage I used to have to all of this. Now I have 3/4 of a garage dedicated to just parking motorcycles. You want to talk about enabling a problem. And the plan with this side is just to keep it open. Since my truck doesn't fit in here, this will most likely be my wife's parking spot for her SUV. Now, chances of that happening are honestly slim because there is a very nice attached carport on the front of the house. It goes right in to like the front of the house, the main living area. So like you back in under roof that's attached to the house. You know, it's easy getting the kids in and out, getting stuff in and out of the car. You don't have to walk through the weather to get to the garage into your vehicle. You know, I think anyway, that she's probably going to be parking under the carport most of the time. And this bay is just going to be open. So my plan is that this is kind of going to be the golf cart garage, you know, to and from the other garage to the house. You know, park the golf cart in here, go to the garage, park the golf cart up there. It's just, I don't know. I've never had this opportunity in my life that I don't know what to do with this garage. It's just kind of here for stuff. And I like that problem. I don't know. It's awesome. I just got some bare necessities in here, like a cord reel for, you know, battery tenders and the beer fridge, some stupid benches and crap, you know, gas can storage. And I don't know. It's basically a big garden shed with garage doors, and that's okay. Now, you may be asking, probably not, but I'm going to say it anyway. You know, Dan, you got a place to work on bikes. You got a place for fabrication and metalworking. You got a place for automotive. You got a place for storage of motorcycles. What about woodworking? What are you going to do with woodworking? Well, there's a third garage. Oh, now, I say third garage loosely. The only reason I can even get away with using that term is because there is a garage door on this space. Now, we're kind of lucky enough that the topography of the property here, the rear of the house is open the whole way down to grade. So the rear of the basement is exposed to the yard. And the basement is the entire length of the house. And about a third of the basement under the house is accessible via a garage door. And it's a completely separate concrete block area from the rest of like the living area in the basement, which that is the wood shop. Now, it's big enough that you can keep your lawn equipment in there. Like I got the lawn mowers and the weed eaters and crap like that in the basement and like the garage basement. But it's also big enough. I got a table saw in there. I got a miter saw in there. All my woodworking crap, all that stuff goes in the basement garage to keep it out of here, to keep it out of the main workshop. Now it's just, it's cool. Now that area, because it's a basement and I'm 6'1", there is the caveat of you got to do this under some I-beams every now and again. Like I can stand up in there, but there are I-beams that go across that area of the basement where, you know, I've clipped them a couple times myself. But as long as you're mindful to where they are, it's cool. It's a completely usable space and it's very nice. And here we are back in the main pro shop, which, funny enough, that's what my buddies have coined this place. I mean, for obvious reasons, but like whenever I call them up, like, hey, I'm in the garage, come on over. Oh, which garage, Dan? Are you in the garage or the pro shop? So they know where to go. But guys, I cannot explain how awesome this is and how blessed myself and my family are for being able to do this. Now it's just, and you guys are a big part of this. You know, since the creation of Dan's Pro Shop, you guys have really driven this obsession of mine. Now, clearly, anybody that's into this crap, you always need / want a bigger garage, places to do things. But now that I have a business based around this, it's kind of legitimized its need and made this like easier to swallow and justifiable, if you will. So now it's not like, oh, just Dan wants a big garage, let's go find one. It's like, oh, well, we kind of need a bigger place for the business. So it sounds better. And I can't thank you guys enough for being a huge driving factor in helping this happen. Obviously, like I mentioned, there's a lot going on here. All the acreage, all the stuff to do, that flat up there, and doing projects and this and that. But we are still very heavily in the middle of winter here. And everything is just a soupy mess. You know, there's ice banks everywhere. There's snow everywhere. It's still cold. And the places that are melted is just inches thick of mud. So I promise you, I'll show you around better. I mean, you saw a little bit with the drone shots here. But there is so much to see and do around here that it's impossible to cover in a video that's less than 4 hours long. So I know I've talked a lot in this, but I'm excited and there was a lot to go over. So I can't thank you guys enough. And I'm telling you, man, there is going to be a lot that goes on in here. And thanks for sticking with me for as long as you have. There's going to be some serious stuff going on here forward. So guys, welcome to the Pro Shop. We'll see you next time.